Welcome in, everybody, to Fantasy Pros MLB. This is Leading Off Live, brought to you by Bet365. It is me, Joey P. Joe Pizzapia. That, of course, is the Welsh, and it's you, the Peanuts, and the Cracker Jacks hanging out here on a fun Friday. We're going to try to get to your questions. Welsh on the home run board again.
Hey.
Somebody's getting hot. Mike Trout stealing bases. Welsh calling home runs. I think we're in the upside down. Welsh.
What's happening right now? I'm defeating AI. AI is not able to, well, it was really just a wheel, but the wheel is not able to get me a home run. But I had to do it all natural with Adolis Garcia, and we'll try to go for two. I just want back on that board. Put me back on that home run board, please.
Not there yet. Not there yet. Michael obviously knows what today really is. Hello, all, and welcome to the Tortured Baseball Hosts Department Day. Yes, that's right. The new Taylor Swift double album. Oh my God, just dropped last night. I know. It means a lot in my house. I have two daughters.
My daughter loves
12 and 14. So.
My daughter loves Taylor Swift. I didn't know an album was dropping, and then it did. And then I saw the excitement that no one knew that the second album was dropping. What I do love, though, and you know this about me, is Taylor is jumping in. Apparently, I don't know any of this. This is from the internet. Jumping into like the shade department because there's a song. Isn't there a song that is like at Kim Kardashian and it's got
that's been
K
going on for years.
and I like the pettiness. I'm down for especially for like the richest people on the planet to like be petty. I appreciate that
with other rich people. You're right. 100%, this brings Welsh joy. Here's a question from Whips. Joey P and Cannoli Welsh. That's a good nickname for you. In my OBP league, I was offered Adolis Garcia for CJ Abrams. What do you think? Can I move Oneil Cruz to shortstop and Nolan Gorman to middle infield? What do you think about this deal here? Garcia for Abrams.
I don't know if I would do it. I'm not sure unless I was really, really chasing power. So on ITL yesterday, I put out a poll and we discussed it, Bogman and I, and it was, who'd you rather have rest of season, Bo Bichette or CJ Abrams? And we had a couple people that were like, oh, recency bias. What is going on? But guess what? CJ Abrams ran away with that. And obviously there's a recency to it. You and I have also been like, hey, CJ Abrams might be a superstar. But when you go and look at the profile right now, obviously he steals bases. His batting average is up. He's barreling the ball more. He's hitting the ball harder. He's getting the ball in the air. And these are things that I wasn't so sure he was going to do. So I thought the power is in question, but he's hitting consistently. So all of this to say, even if the profile kind of like simmers down a little bit, I just really think he is immensely valuable for all five categories this year. Adolis is hey, I want big RBIs, I want big homer chase, but there's no stolen bases. So I don't want to be like 1 foot in, 1 foot out and say like, well, if you only need homers, I lean CJ Abrams here. But if you are a heavy chase on stolen bases and you're comfortable because you have Oneil Cruz, sure, you could do it. But I'm team CJ Abrams.
Cruz has struggled recently too. Has not been a good week or last 7 days for him, statistically speaking. I don't think it's going to last, but still, I think that's the bigger problem too. If Cruz was playing really well, it's a no-brainer for me, but Cruz hasn't played great. So I don't know. I mean, I would probably take this deal and put the faith that Cruz could be good enough that I don't have to worry about that. The other part of this is how I feel about Nolan Gorman. And I've never been the biggest Nolan Gorman guy, so I think that's a bit of an issue. But let's get after the headlines. Let's start about Logan Webb, 7 shutout innings yesterday, a win over the Diamondbacks, who cannot buy a win in San Francisco. What in the world? I saw that stat yesterday. I was like, I wish I knew that stat yesterday because I would have been all in on that one because they've been terrible there. But good outing for Logan Webb, which he definitely needs, so we can all breathe a sigh of relief.
I want to comment on it real quick, before we move on to it, because my bet of the day yesterday was Diamondbacks money line first 5, and it was looking pretty good. They got to Webb super early on. Ryan Nelson got smacked in the elbow in like the second or third inning and got knocked out of the game, and they had Logan Allen come in, who then proceeded to give up a run and then shut everything down. But then you just had Webb shut them down. If you watch the game, one of the craziest things about this too, horrible umpire, by the way, every call on the outside of the plate was given to Logan Webb, whether it was a changeup, a slider, a fastball. And then the Diamondbacks were just feeding it and eating into it. But that's what's like special about Logan Webb. And that is what I really love about him, by the way, is that is a smart pitcher who attacks those advantages. And he did that last night. I didn't cash it, even though it was a 1-0 game. A tie would have pushed the bet. So that kind of stunk. But the Diamondbacks stink right now. And Logan Webb totally back on the come up. And I hope you're feeling better about Logan Webb, because you were definitely not a Webby like the Swiftie.
Oh, I was a big
I'm
Webby,
a Webby.
and then
I'm a Webby.
he got the crap beat out of him in the spring, and then the first couple starts, he got the crap beat out of him. I mean, you're getting smacked all over the ballpark. Something's wrong. So a little concerning. Again, when a pitcher has a good track record of being good, I don't want to overreact to spring, but it was hard to ignore when you're giving up the most hits in spring and you're Logan Webb. Like, that should not be either. Jack Leiter, not the best debut, 7 runs in 3 2/3 innings, struck out 3. There were some good moments. I think you take away in this start too. A very emotional guy in the dugout, perhaps on the mound too. This was kind of the knock on his daddy. I remember when he was young, coming up in the late 80s with the Yankees, because I'm old enough to remember that. Al Leiter was a very emotional pitcher. He had a hard time sometimes corralling his emotions, letting his emotions settle in, and allowing him to be in command of the mound. And it wasn't until he got traded from the Yankees to the Blue Jays that it started to happen. And then eventually the Marlins really emerged, I think, the best version of Al Leiter into that later stage veteran Mets period. But, I know different pitchers, lefty, righty, all that same stuff. But what'd you make of the Jack Leiter start yesterday? I'm attributing a little bit of it to nerves, and I'm curious to see what the second one is more than this one.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not, I wasn't right in saying, hey, this is a good matchup. I think the logic made sense. He was awesome this is weird. He was awesome in the first inning. 3 pitches, strikeout, bam, 2 strikeouts in the
Twitter
first
was
inning.
A buzz, or X
we're golden.
Buzz.
I was ready to quote tweet. Oh, genius! And then just smashed in the second inning. Then
what was that? What was that analysis again?
It was that's the advanced analysis of
getting. You can't get analysis like that anywhere else, folks.
Yeah, and it's funny. Concace just put, like, you serve up like meatball fastballs to Javi Baez, like that's where there's a problem. But then the third inning, he kind of found himself again, and then the fourth inning, things fell apart. There's some bad defense that played into it, but at the end of the day, he didn't get any really whiffs off of the slider. It was some of the fastball, which looked good, but he didn't command it. And his changeup, I'd love to see the changeup more because he had a pretty good whiff rate on that. But it's a command issue. Like, he wasn't able to be consistent. I thought there were good signs of life. I just thought this was a really good matchup. He got beat up. I think he'll get another start. And God, I looked. Oh, it's Seattle. Seattle should be the next startup. Which offense is kind of stuttered. There's really good K potential. It's a little dangerous if you're going to end up starting it, but it was a pretty, I don't know. I was pretty discouraged about like the start in general, but I do think there's possibilities this can turn around, but we got to see better command because he fell apart there.
Yeah. Agreed. I think we'll see another start. And look, even if the next one isn't ideal, you'll still see Jack Leiter again at some point this season. Like, I don't think you bring him up there and then you just kind of send him down for the rest of the year. There will be other injuries. There's Scherzer news to share. We're going to get to that a little later in the show, but he's going to be coming back earlier than later. Some other news was really interesting to me. Tristian McKenzie is pitching through a torn ligament in his elbow. I don't know if that explains the 6.23 ERA. Instead of going through Tommy John, he decided to do rehab, but clearly, I mean, he has not been good in the first 3 starts. So what do you make of this news? Because this is something that I think we're all looking around at each other saying, all right, well, if you're not healthy enough to be pitching here, and the results are bad, I mean, the Guardians kind of have to make a decision, don't they?
I feel like this was like leaked in a when he gets, because I think he pitches today. When he gets hit up today, immediate Tommy John. It's not going to be a good outing. And then they've leaked this story, and then by Monday, he's going to be having some type of surgery or something like that. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, so I don't know the different levels of like, why are we comfortable with someone with a tear? Like, obviously it could be like a real minuscule tear. And but this is a problem though. I think when you're dealing with a situation like this, they're going to be like, all right, you've got extra maintenance. You got to maintain this arm. But obviously that's not natural. If you're changing what you do and you're having to kind of pay attention to this and baby this situation, he's not pitching to his highest level. No, I don't know what that serves. But yeah, McKenzie, it's a bad situation. He was a good dynasty option. He's not right now. And I think we all clearly know like what we are in line for here very shortly.
Yeah, Garcia, obviously yesterday, big day. So homering 2 for 5. That's what you want out of him. So good on the Welsh, another home run for him. Unfortunately, my stuff got rained out yesterday. So bummer for Bellinger. I didn't get another one in time. Too busy doing football shows for NFL draft. The Cubs activated Jameson Taillon from the IL and also Patrick Wisdom. Where does Wisdom fit in with the Cubs now between Morel, and obviously Michael Bush has been red hot. Like, where's the spot for Wisdom?
Oh, I know exactly where it is. It is keeping that bench warm. Get those seats, move around, make sure that any of the bleacher parts are nice and warm for all the really, really good players. I don't see where he'll be a pinch hit, day off type of guy. I just don't see where the fit is. Michael Bush is too good. Chris Morel has been solid. With Seiya Suzuki out, there might be a little bit more flexibility and maybe DHing in a short period of time, but Wisdom was like just a big power chase, maybe a good matchup or something like that, but you're going to be keeping that bench nice and warm.
Before we get to the wheels of Mike Trout, remember, bet365, use that promo code leading off, bet $5, get 150 in bonus bets when you do. Again, we want you to bet responsibly as well. 21 or over, 18 or over in Kentucky. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. Terms and conditions apply. Again, use that promo code for Bet365. The promo code is leading off to bet $5 to get 150 in bonus bets. Welsh, something fun here. Mike Trout has 5 steals now after stealing 2 more bags yesterday. Is the speed back for Mike Trout? Because this offseason, a lot of really good analysts were still off of Mike Trout, even at the ADP they were getting. There was one guy who was not. Now it's you before you start, hyperextending your arm to pat yourself on the back here.
Oh, no, it's April. Torn.
It is still April. But more importantly, I think this is something that even if you were supportive of Mike Trout, I don't think anybody saw this starting, 8 steals possibly in April when all is said and done now. I don't think anybody had that necessarily on their radar.
Well, you could have envisioned the possibility because of Ron Washington. Like, this is what he does. He wants his teams to run. And that is typically something that can be aggressive across the board. The reason maybe it wouldn't have happened would be obvious. Like, you don't want your only really great star player to be hurt. But this is what he does. He is supportive of base stealing. And when you look like Baseball Savant, as far as speed ratings go, he's Trout has had like tiny tick downs, but it's been like a 95 or higher. Like, he still can run. I think there might have just been philosophy differences. There might have been injury-based things. That's not the case. Washington, green light, and we are seeing in full force. And this is the type of stuff we're talking about. The obvious Mike Trout thing, by the way, is like, great, except when ... he gets hurt. That's the argument anyone's going to make. But this was the first year it felt like the narrative changed from he's going to get hurt to, he's going to get hurt. And he's also like not really good anymore because he's striking out and he doesn't steal. And this has been a complete turnaround. I mean, this is like
him the suspect too. And I think that had a lot to do with it. A lot of people don't like the surrounding parts. You take Ohtani out of this lineup. It's a much different looking lineup.
But also I think, again, it comes back to like offensive philosophy. Look at the drop right now. It's very early in the season, but he 28% K percentage last year, which was the highest of his career. It's down to 20.2, which is one of the lowest that he's had. I still think I dare get into this, that you could potentially see this as a selling opportunity. But I don't know why you would have like invested in Trout and then you're like, all right, I'm just waiting for my opportunity to sell. The reasons would be if the injuries start to loom. His hard hit numbers are down, but I kind of wonder from the success standpoint, is this similar to like Cody Bellinger in that his hard hit numbers are coming down, but he's making sure his he's barreling up higher. He's making better contact. He's making better decisions while he lowers his strikeout rate. So maybe some of the top end could fade as the season goes on, but if he steals more bases and he lowers his Ks, we're going to have vintage Mike Trout. And guess what? Deal of deals, absolute deal of deals when you were drafting in like late February and early March when he was going in the 50s and 60s and everyone's like, screw it, get rid of him. If you at all think that, we're coming to a head here and you believe a lot of the people that were in the full fades, then sell and get out because you can sell for a king's ransom right now.
Look,
I wouldn't.
One right here. The Baron, Trout greater than J-Rod maybe? No, not right now. No.
I mean, right now he is, but no.
No, look, who's got the better stats in April? Fine. But if here's the perfect example. If somebody is souring on J-Rod in your league and you have Mike Trout, I make this trade in a heartbeat.
Sure.
I'm taking Julio the rest of the season. Period. End of story. And I'm not even looking back. And I think that's a deal you can pull off. And it's a big blockbuster kind of deal. And if you have Trout, you might close your eyes a little bit and hit accept there because you're a little going, oh, okay, maybe it's going to happen. Maybe it's not. but I would trust in Julio. He's such a fantastic player. And every April, he does the same. It's like, just set your watch. It was like Mark Teixeira was like that too. He was like the worst in April for like an 8-year period. I don't know what it is about these guys in April, certain guys, but that is a trade right now that I'd be looking at making if I could.
We will say like again, Ron Washington is letting him run. He's going to keep running. If he stays healthy, and let's even just like argue and say like the power, even though it's been prolific so far, it even tapers down. It's hard to not envision that Mike Trout is going to be a 30-30 guy this year. So everything that we're building up, I think it's really just comes down to injuries. Like Mike Trout is proving like, hey, I lowered this K rate that you all were like really hyper focused on. I'm making it work, even though I've got more homers than RBI or whatever. Like those are all good things. He's going to come back down to earth, but he could still be a 30-30 guy. So you just have to figure out where that is for your own teams. But if people are talking about J-Rod and people are talking about, first round talents, there really might be some cool opportunities right now. I see Dan in there, Judge or Trout rest of season. I mean, Judge. Yeah, I gotta go.
It's not hard. And the people who are like banging on Julio Rodriguez right now, let me just read you the stat line for Julio after the bad April last year. Somebody called him Byron Buxton in the chat. Bro, he had 102 runs scored, 180 hits, 37 doubles, 32 homers, 103 ribbies. Oh, wait, and he also stole 37 bases. Stop it. You sound like an idiot when you say stuff like that. Don't say stupid things in my chat. Like, I'm sorry. It's dumb. Don't say that in my chat. And the year before, in 132 games, again, with a sour April in his first season, still ended up with 28 homers and 25 steals. Where are those years for Byron Buxton? Come on. Like, this is when we get stupid and we start to look, we hyper-focus instead of saying this guy's a slow starter, this is who he is, instead of looking at the bigger picture of this. And the fact that he's, how old is he now, Welsh? He is 23 years old. Yeah. I mean, come on. Stop it.
We got Mad Joe. I personally like Mad Joe. Mad Joe's my favorite. Dumb. You got like offended Joe. What about this real quick? Wonky said, why is it automatically Judge? I was going to say Judge is also injury prone. So to me, it wasn't automatic. I don't know if I was kind of like,
like automatic for me, injury prone, but better team, better ballpark, better pizza, Papa John's, like all those things. Like, it's just, look, Aaron Judge was a first round pick for a reason. Mike Trout wasn't for a reason. Just because so far in April, Mike Trout has played like a first round pick does not mean that we're going to get that version of him for 155 games. Because every year we don't. We just don't get it. So I think that's what's frustrating. And I'm not saying this year we can't get it, but you have to start looking at the probabilities of that. And I know Judge has risk too, but I'll take the risk of Judge.
Your philosophy for Trout is buy or sell. Buy that he will continue doing what he's doing right now and stay healthy-ish, play like 130 games or whatever, or you need to get out now. If you had to pick,
I'm not running to get out of the Mike Trout business, but I am ready to pull off a Julio Rodriguez trade for him. I'm ready to pull off somebody. Too. If you give me elite level Aaron Judge, you're giving me first round talent for Mike Trout. Like, there's a reason his ADP was where it was. And I'm not saying he's not great and he's one of the best players in baseball, because we all know he is. We just know that even if Ron Washington lets him steal, like maybe he will, maybe he'll end up with 150 games, he'll go 30-30 and everything will be glorious. But that's a lot of faith to have. I'll put my faith in the 23-year-old Julio Rodriguez to have a better 5 months going forward. I'll put those stats up against it. Yeah, I could be wrong, but I will take that risk. I think it's a better investment. Let's talk about rookie investments. Paul Skenes is pretty good at pitching. Another 8 strikeouts in 3 1/3 innings. He touched triple digits 34 times.
I was watching that game yesterday.
Does that bother you? Like, in this age that we live in where everybody throws 110 miles an hour now and everyone's arm is falling off. Should that concern all of us?
Well, that's also, Charrington came out. So, we did the prospects to stash. We talked about Paul Skenes, and it's so funny too, because people are so weird about prospects right now and just like, oh, don't even care about them, or people are hyper caring about them. Well, Charrington came and kind of like poured some cold water that they finally told us, like, hey, listen, Paul Skenes is not built up for a full SP workload right now. Like, he's got to build those innings up. So that's why we've gotten these 3 innings. I've been speculating, like, why is he only going 3 innings every single game? So they want to build him up. Now, turn it to your question, where it's like, you see this guy throwing, he has like 99% of the hardest thrown balls in the minor leagues right now. Like, he has all of them. You see all these bullets in the minor leagues, and it's kind of frustrating. But also, I watched almost this entire game. I was kind of bouncing around to a couple, and the fastball is ridiculous. But like, as he got into the third inning, he got up to around 64. I think he ended at 64 pitches, and he only got into the fourth inning. Like, that's not great. That's not great maintenance. That's kind of Blake Snell-ish without the walks, because he throws a ton of pitches. He's trying to power strikeout. So A, I hate seeing it down there. B, I don't care what Cherington said. I still think we're going to see him soon, especially that he's working into the mid-60s. And C, it is overall worrisome seeing a guy throwing that max velo in the minors and not having it in the back of your head, this guy's going down. Like nobody maintains anymore. So I just took it in a lot of directions there with Paul Skenes. He is incredible. His changeup looks great. You know, he's got that slider that he throws really hard, throws his changeup really hard, and his fastball is almost unhittable. He went up against Tony Kemp, who's a major leaguer, and like there's one at bat, like Tony Kemp just swung through a 102, and you could almost see the like, what the hell's going on here type of mentality, and everybody is locked into it. Paul Skenes is, when we talk about those stashes, I don't care what Cherington says. I am stashing Paul Skenes because I think when we get to that 80 marker, 64 this last one, he's coming up. So like 2 more starts beginning of May.
I would love to see when he gets that call up what his trade value is in the open market. I'd love to see that. Not in dynasty and keeper leagues, obviously not there, but in your redraft leagues, that'd be very interesting.
What do you think? Like top? Well, so you can't trade like SP for SP. So like, do you think you can get like a top?
You can. 75? It happens. You can. It's
why would you? Why would you? Why would anybody trade like I guess unless they're trading like a struggling pitcher.
Well, like Luis Castillo has struggled. Like, I don't think Paul Skenes for Luis Castillo is a good trade for the,
No,
but,
he was better.
I don't know. I mean, I think it's tough. As much as I especially in head-to-head formats, it's a little dangerous because I think in the season long, we compared it early on, back in spring. We said, look at the Strasburg year, right? His debut year. Can he give you 75 innings, 80 innings in that range of great? And if he can, that's really useful in season-long roto.
Like, would you rather
in any head-to-head format, that's something you have to consider. The limitations he's going to be on, the injury risk he has because how max velo he is. There's a lot of concerns in head-to-heads, and you're probably not going to have him for the playoffs. So in head-to-head formats, Paul Skenes is somebody that I think you really got to think long and hard about what the value is long-term and look at that peak value. He comes in, there's going to be the fanfare. There's going to be so much attention on him, just like there was in Strasburg. I mean, that Strasburg start got huge ratings. I remember they put it on ESPN. Everybody was watching. It was wild. And it was great. And his value was unbelievable at that time. And I think that's when you always have to look and see, what can I get for this? Because what does August and September look like for Paul Skenes in 2024?
Yeah, I mean, we had the same thing with Yuri Perez when Yuri came up. That's what I've been likening to like Jared Jones too. Like when Yuri Perez came up, he was amazing for some period of time. And then it was like, ooh, we have to baby. My worry would be the Pirates have already given us this, like, we are going to kind of baby him. That's why, by the way, I'm into stashing Skenes because I don't want to pay exorbitant like fab prices or number 1 waivers. I want to be ahead of the game on it because either you can write out some of the good stats or there might be immense trade value. Like if he were up, who'd you rather have rest of season? Paul Skenes with some of the unknowns or Michael King?
Michael King.
So, I mean, that seems kind of low. That seems kind of low. Like you could probably do that maybe like right now.
I think that would be a great trade if you can get Michael King, for Paul Skenes. I made them one person. I made them a celebrity couple for a second there.
Like Michael Caine. Like, oh.
Infield prospect for the Blue Jays, Orelvis Martinez, 2 for 5, a solo homer. He's heading 305 right now with 3 homers, 11 ribbies over 15 games. Are you impressed at all by him?
I've never been a big Orelvis guy, but I will tell you, I've had many conversations. Jeff Ponce of Baseball America, like he is definitely defended where bad batting average stuff is. He's hitting over 300. That's great for Orelvis, but he's had some K problems and bad batting average stuff. Raw power's always been there, so that's not his question. He is always kind of defended to me a little bit more for an Orelvis Martinez. So he's definitely a guy to pay attention to if this offense is looking to pick stuff up. They got middle infield like Davis Schneider, Craig Biggio, like they could fill that gap, but I just don't know how aggressive they're really going to be with that current lineup, but you should pay attention to him. He would probably be right on the cusp. I didn't have him in my stashed article. Maybe that was a mistake.
Also, Heston Kjerstad, 3 for 3 with a solo homer, another homer for Kjerstad. I mean,
trade rumors. There was a rumor going out there that that the Orioles might be floating him around in trade talks.
Yeah, for Mike Trout.
That's I keep forgetting our Mike Trout to the Orioles thing.
Yes.
Yours. I'm sorry. Yours.
Well, I mean, you
Royal.
can come on board now if you think it's a good idea. I think
it's a great idea. I don't think it's happening. I think it's a fantastic idea. Best destination. Do not. You want
to put the Orioles into. All right, we are not just fun now. We're serious. Mike Trout's the deal.
I think it's the Angels. I don't think it's the Orioles. I mean, unless the Orioles
idiotic.
Offense.
The Angels continue. Look, last year they screwed the pooch, and they're going to do it again, and it's going to be brutal if they do. 3 up, 3 down. Marcus Semien homered, 3 for 5. Good for him. Ryan Pepio, a good start against the Angels. 1 run over 6 innings, 7 strikeouts for the Pepio. And Jarren Duran, 2 more runs and another stolen base there for him. He continues to be just a fill in the categories, man. Duran, I'm so happy. He was one of our guys we loved going into the season. The ADP was unbelievable. I don't know how many times I took him in mocks. I don't know how many times I had to write about who's underrated. Oh, Jarren Duran's underrated. He has been. 3 down, Kenta Maeda, 6 runs, 5 earned. Nobody pitched well yesterday in that game between the Tigers and the Rangers. Evan Carter, 0 for 4, another 0 for him with 2 strikeouts. And Corbin Carroll, 0 for 4, 3 Ks. WTF, Welsh? What's going on with Corbin Carroll?
WTF, Joe. I completely agree. I'm frustrated. And I've had people being like, come on, of you of all people, like of all of the first round picks, I do have the most concern for Corbin Carroll. And maybe I'm just being more dramatic because I'm closer to it. But, it's kind of been like all or nothing. He is so hyper aggressive into early counts, which I absolutely hate. He has not shown the ability to get the ball in the air. He did hit like a 108 or 109 single yesterday, which if there was no one on base, he probably would have turned into a double, but he's not consistently doing it. He's got a 110 max EV and 83 average EV. So, I mean, that shows how inconsistent he's been, but he has had a pretty low K rate comparatively, 10% this year. He's walking more than he's striking out, but he's just not making quality contact. He's going to steal a ton of bases. He's going to get on base, but I am worried that power is going to take a little bit of backseat. I do think he will stabilize. And, I would buy low and stuff like, how about this? Mike Trout or Corbin Carroll rest of the season.
Now that's an interesting one because we only have the one season of Corbin Carroll, and it was a very good season of Corbin Carroll. I mean, I'm a big fan. You know that. I almost thought Corbin Carroll was a slump-proof kind of guy because of the style of his game, because he runs, because he's got quick hands. I think it's a bad couple weeks. It's a bad stretch. I'm not going to overreact to it yet.
That might be an amazing trade, by the way, if you had Mike Trout to go and offer that.
I mean, I'm leaning towards the Carroll side rest of season.
I am too.
Because I just want the younger player at this point.
Wonky,
it's close. It's very close.
Wonky killed me. I love this idea. Wonky says, she's like, I absolutely want an emo apocalyptic Where Are Welsh and Corbin Carroll segment. And it made me think we need, my picture of me and Corbin. We need like a Back to the Future one where one of us is like fading away, like slowly over the season as he struggles. Like I'm fading away. And then when he comes back, we'll be
like
back.
You're missing an arm.
Yeah. Or we just do Where in the World Are Welsh and Corbin Carroll. And then it's just like, exactly.
Do you think it's a health issue? I know some people were speculating about that. And some people in the chat were talking about that. Could it be
everybody
bothering him?
Yeah, I mean, Frank, Seabass Frank has been hard about that all offseason, that they're really thinking that this was a shoulder thing. I don't. He's still taking the relatively same approach, but he just seems so hyper aggressive.
That's like me. I'm hyper aggressive.
Yeah, you're very much today.
Things. I just keep it real. If you say good things in the chat, I'm excited. If you say stupid things in the chat, I'm going to take you to task on it. Like, that's okay. I say stupid things. I take myself to task for it. But look, it's been a while, but we might have to bring it back. I am the king of keeping it real.
It's such a good look. Finish the show with that, please.
I will. Here's a question for you too, Welsh, as I wear my crown. Question and trivia, because it made me think about it. We were talking about the lighters, Al Leiter, Jack Leiter, High Leiter, all the lighters. When Al Leiter was traded from the Yankees to the Blue Jays, who came back in that deal from the Blue Jays to the Yankees? If you know, drop your answers in the chat. Don't Google it. I want your authentic answers. If you know, you know. And if you don't go Googling it, because that's no fun.
I will say we were talking a little bit about this off air, and my timeline was messed up on Al Leiter because I was 10 years into the future when he was a Marlin. So I really don't know. I really have absolutely no clue.
It was the year 1990 where he was traded. That should help you. It was the beginning of the Yankees kind of in that weird mold where they were turning out. No Uncle Ted. It was not David Wells. That's a good one. Tony Fernandez, also a good one there. That is incorrect. We're going to get to the injuries, and then we'll get back to see who's right if they can get it. Tyler O'Neill, concussion, hoping to come back in Tuesday's opener at home against the Guardians. Ryan Nelson was removed. Unfortunate for him. He had a right elbow contusion. He had to come out of that game. Walker Buehler surrendered 2 runs in 2 2/3 yesterday in the rehab start from the elbow. Alex Cobb still dealing with the shoulder irritation. Ricky Tiedemann went on the IL in the minor leagues, but nobody gave a reason why, which I think is kind of weird. Like, don't you have to give a reason why you put a guy in the IL? Okay. And then Ken Rosenthal, this is the biggest news, reporting that Max Scherzer could return in early May. We just said it yesterday on the show. It was like, well, Max Scherzer is going to beat that timeline because he's a nut job. So there you go. Max Scherzer looks like he's beating that timeline. What does that mean for folks who have Max Scherzer right now stashed away? That's got to be a huge lift. If you can get him back in even mid-May as opposed to June 1st, that's huge. That's like 4 more starts.
That is massive, massive. I mean, and I can be annoying, and some people love it, some people hate it. But remember, I'm talking about, I'm on the backfields in spring training of the Rangers, and I note, even though sometimes it's anecdotal, I was like, it was really interesting. He was throwing full field across the field where DeGrom was baby throwing and stuff like that. And that showed that timeline being a little bit higher, which is going to make Max Scherzer maybe a pretty solid value early on. I'm pretty optimistic about it. Stuff isn't quite the same with Max Scherzer, and you want that bullpen to be a little bit stronger. Leclerc has been struggling. Kirby Yates is now the closer. So I don't know how deep he'll go into games, but like bottom line, like this is great. You just want solid starters. You hate when you see Andrew Heaney or John Gray starting for the Rangers. You want the Max Scherzers because of the offensive support and everything like that. So yeah, this is solid.
Jerry Nelson, you did it. You're not wrong. Jerry says, I'm taking a guess, probably wrong, but Jesse Barfield pops in my head. Jesse Barfield is correct. Jesse Barfield had some power, had a cannon for an arm. People forget the Jesse Barfield arm, one of the best right field arms you ever saw.
His son was the developmental director for the Diamondbacks and just went over to the White Sox this past year. So
George Costanza for Al Leiter would have been a good trade too. All right, let's gear it up. Welsh, you ready? It's Friday. Let's have some fun. A lot more games today, and it's time for the best bets
of the day
with Joey P and the Welsh. Welcome in, everybody. We're going to get our MLB bets. Unfortunately, some bets got rained out upon yesterday, but I'll still be very much on Cody Bellinger today, as long as things are a little drier. For me today, looking at the run line in the Phillies game against the lowly White Sox. The Phillies have been great. They've pitched tremendously. -1.5 at plus money, plus 125 you're getting against the lowly White Sox. I know Crochet's on the mound. I know he's our best guy. I don't care. At some point in time, they're going to either get to him or get to the bullpen, and I will take the Phillies side of this game, especially at home. I will also take the Twins -1.5 at plus 145 against the Tigers as well, like the plus money I'm getting. And then I want to focus on the Brewers game today. Now, you're getting the Brewers on the run line -1.5 at plus 140 against the Cardinals. Now, this one's on the road, but Freddie Peralta's pitching, and he has been absolutely tremendous. Not to mention the fact the St. Louis Cardinals are a strikeout machine of a team. They have really had some struggles there at the plate collectively. You could just take them on the money line at -118. Pair that with Freddie Peralta over 7.5 strikeouts today at plus money, plus 115, and you turn that in to a same game parlay for plus 217. So that's what I'm in on today. The king of keeping it real. As you can see, my crown is on today. And of course, when you make your wagers, don't forget to do it over at bet365. Use that promo code leading off, bet $5, get 150 in bonus bets when you do. Welsh, what do you have for the people on a fun Friday?
You and I are kind of in the same trajectory. I've got some bets that are going to probably be coming here in just a little bit. So again, just remind you guys, fantasypros.com or bettingpros.com/Welsh. If you want to follow me, you can do the same thing with Joey. Brewers are a really interesting one, but let's start with the same place that you started in the White Sox and Phillies game. And I'm going back to a Nerfy. I felt a little dicey about it yesterday, and I was like, this could be a little bit risky. And it was, and it didn't cash because Pepio was awesome, but the other side wasn't. There is some risk in this one today, so buyer beware, because I'm taking the no-run first inning in Chicago and Philly. Now, Philly is the third highest scoring team through the first inning. So, Welsh, what the hell are you doing? White Sox are in the middle. This is about Garrett Crochet, who's got a 35% K percentage so far this year. I'm not against the idea of what you're saying, by the way, that he could get got to pretty soon. So I don't hate taking the full. But in the first inning, you got two lefties that are going to be at least in the first three of that lineup. Garrett Crochet has been hyper deceptive. His fastball's amazing, and he's been just a K monster. So I'm betting on Garrett Crochet. And then on the other side of it, Spencer Turnbull had his ups and downs. White Sox in that middle range, but they're hitting around 200 against righties right now, and he's got a sub-1 whip. So I'm banking on these two shutting it down, at least in the first inning, very early on. Things may change. Coming up at number 2, I'm doing an alt K prop, and we're going back to Crochet. 6. This is the 6-6 K prop because Crochet is at 6.5, and I'm taking his alt at 6, and I'm adding Freddie Peralta, who's got a pretty big line today where that sucker's up at 7.5. I know you took it. I'm a little concerned about the top end of it getting to 8. So I'm bringing it down and I'm getting this at -120. And I know this is a safe bet. If you wanted to play it at 7 for Peralta, you can get plus money, but give me 6 strikeouts over for Crochet and Peralta combined. That's near-ish, even money at 120. And I really like that one. And then finally, the early game here, picking on AJ Puck. This one kept coming up and off of books, which is super interesting. I'm taking AJ Puck's walks, 2.5 over. It's juiced. It wasn't as juiced early on. It moved up. The reason why, he has walked 3 or more in every game he's played. The Cubs are averaging just under 4 walks per game, and they got an overall 10% walk rate, which is at the higher level. AJ Puck is kind of stunk, so I'm betting he's going to walk another 3 on this one for my best bets of the day. And I got a few others that'll be up on the app.
There you have it, everybody. Those are the best bets of the day. Download the Betting Pros app right now. It's free. It's fantastic. Also, join our group, bettingpros.com/leading off. Remember, from Friday today to next Friday, we're going to be giving away some free stuff. Whoever has the best return on their investment. So get in on that right away and enjoy your best bets of the day for MLB. Subscribe to bettingpros.com and, of course, subscribe to the YouTube channel Betting Pros and Fantasy Pros MLB. All right, Welsh, before we get to, obviously, the home run call for the weekend, don't forget, everybody, when you subscribe to Fantasy Pros MLB, you also get a chance to get this Jose Ramirez autographed jersey. Just comment below on a video and subscribe to Fantasy Pros MLB. That's it. That's all you got to do to win this bad boy. We're working on getting out the trophy out there. That all is working out. Talked to the guy yesterday. So that's
Did they get my
exciting.
address?
Yeah, your address.
Oh,
no,
okay.
Gonna get your address.
Just checking.
No. All right, so let's get
Pretty
after it.
good back then.
After all of this today, you know who I'm going to take for my home run call this weekend? In Cincinnati, Mike Trout. After all
No,
of
you're
that,
not. Get
I
out
have
of
it.
here.
It's in there. It was in there at 9 o'clock this morning. By 9 in the morning, I put this in there, and it's staying in there. Look, it says Mike Trout. Haven't changed it. The hands are up here. So there you go. Mike Trout for the weekend, just because I'm a jerk, and that's who I am. Welsh, where are you going for your home run call for the weekend?
Well, I'm making my own pick. I feel like we need to have some type of like if people want a wheel, they got to do something. We got to see some improvement or something across those lines. I don't know. Like the video a whole bunch. If this video is liked more than any of the others and watched for this week, we'll bring back the wheel next week and have some fun. But we are not going to the robots. We're going to go to me, and I am going to make it pretty simple on this one because this is the player from a BVP standpoint who has the most hits versus a pitcher today. This guy has, I believe, 7 extra base hits against this matchup. I'm going with Mookie Betts. Mookie Betts at the tippy top of the lineup. I get a few extra at-bats, maybe 1, maybe 2. Homers are there. Pretty good track record, I believe, against Sean Manaea. So give me Mookie Betts for my home run call for Friday, and maybe I'll carry it over to the weekend and get me on that board. Dang it.
So Angelo, not a regular, it's another Angelo. We attract a lot of Angelos to the show for some reason. I can't only assume why. Angelo Morales, what's the swag? We're giving away hats and or t-shirts for Fantasy Pros. So you can, or Betting Pros, whatever you prefer. So again, free stuff from the channel. Should be fun. I'd like to get that Welshism shirt up there too. We have some other fun ones up there in the shop as well.
We probably should get some stuff like the Welshisms would be great. I'd love that. You know what I would love too?
Can we
like
get
a couple more
Schwarberfest t-shirts? That's what I want. Schwarberfest.
Ooh, that would be good. I want one that just says Joe and maybe a Welsh one. I want a hat, the Welsh hat that is do my autograph. I got a great autograph and we'll just put it as a hat. Let's do that. Let's do
this.
The Crown Joe, whatever.
We're gonna do all of it. Let's also join the Discord if you want to make home run calls. FantasyPros.com/chat. It's free to join. Remember, every Wednesday we're over there, Welsh and myself, taking your questions, hanging out with you. I make sure you sync your leagues if you haven't already for free with the Fantasy Pros MLB My Playbook. Go download the app today or go to FantasyPros.com/MyPlaybook. MLB. Now the leaderboard, I'm still tied with everybody at 8. Bose is still up there at 9 at number
Man.
1. So this weekend should be really interesting. Welsh, should be a lot of fun stuff there. Hopefully we come back and that leaderboard looks a little shaken up, and hopefully the king of keeping it real is at the top. But I want everybody to have a great weekend out there. We appreciate you guys subscribing to the channel, being part of the MLB channel here, and all of its success. And we'll see you Monday. So make the time, because we always make the time for you. Join us live. We love when you join us live here for the program. And if you can't, by golly, we appreciate you listening. And
by the way, do it for me. Monday's my birthday. So do it for me. Come and watch the show. And yeah, just put numbers.
You already
just
got
give me
baked
numbers.
goods. You got baked goods.
I don't need baked goods. No, I'm just saying, give me numbies. Like, come and watch the show and hang out and make me feel
there you
good.
go. Like, just wants numbies. That's all he wants for his birthday. That'll do it for us. But the story of the game goes on for Numbies Welsh, or Cannoli Welsh. I'm Angry Joe. We'll see you next time, kids. Enjoy your weekend of baseball.
Peace.